Hey guys, Tucson Reptile Museum here with Bowser, one of our many sulcata tortoises. And today we're going to walk you guys through how to build a small composting pile and a lizard and bug habitat all in one that you can put in your backyard so that you can encourage some of our cool native reptiles to hang out around your house. There's a few things that you need to start, and luckily you can get most of them at dollar stores or Walmart for pretty cheap. The first thing you need is a roll of paper towels. Try to get ones that don't have any dye in them, so they have to be white, no patterns or anything. You need some tiny plastic pots, and we've already cut a hole in one of these, but just these little plastic ones, they don't have to be very expensive or anything. You need a small bag, Bowser, that's my foot. You need a small bag of potting soil, not very big, and it doesn't need to be really fancy potting soil, just cheap stuff's fine. You need a hand shovel, and finally, you need a little basket like this. You want one that's small enough that it'll go where it is that you want in the yard, that has holes in the sides so that you can get airflow so that the bottom of the stuff in your compost pile doesn't get all gunky. That's really important. It has to have holes, but you can make this out of anything. You can make it out of wood, you can buy little plastic baskets like this, you can use trash cans, as long as it has plenty of holes in it. Then, for things that you might not have to buy, you have the stuff for the little habitat areas. So we are using some old logs, little half logs like this. We're using this little bug house that we got, but this is fancy. You don't have to use something this fancy. And we're using some rocks and an old hide. See how it's hollow underneath and it has some entrances in it? That's important. All right, so you can use almost anything you want. You can use logs, you can use bricks, you can use pieces of wood. This is just what we're gonna use today. So let's get started on how to make it, all right? All right, you're gonna start with your basket. You wanna make sure that you've cleaned it out. It doesn't have any gunky stuff stuck to it or any stickers on the inside of it. And then you're gonna take your paper towel, and this is going to help you keep things inside of it. And the nice thing about paper towel is it's decomposable, which means that it'll break down with all of the food stuff that you're putting in your compost bin. Bowser, you're gonna break the compost bin. Start by putting it in the bottom. And then all around the sides. And it doesn't have to be perfect because you're going to fill this up with dirt and food stuff later. You can also use newspaper if you want to. If you have old newspapers in your house, that would work just fine. You want to make sure that you're covering most of the holes, but you don't want it to be thick because you still want air to be able to get through that. We're just going to tuck these little corners down to make sure they're out of the way. Bowser, you are getting banana on my hands. All right, next you're going to take your potting soil, and this is where it gets a little dirty sometimes. And you're going to, if the wind will stop for a minute, empty it out to where you're filling it about halfway. And this is why we're doing this outside, so I don't make a big mess in the house. There we go. And you're going to make sure there's a little bit of a hole in the middle, and you're going to pack it all around on the sides and make sure that your paper towels are all tucked in there. And see, the paper towel keeps the dirt from falling out the sides, but you still get plenty of airflow inside of it, which is what we want. Now, for our compost, we don't have a whole lot to start with today, so we're going to use something that the tortoises helped us make, and that's this banana peel, because they love some banana treats. But also, guess what that is? That's tortoise poop. I know, that's really funny, huh? Tortoises are a lot like cows. They're herbivores, which means that they eat grass and hay and stuff like that. And for us, that means that their poop is going to make great compost. So we're going to start putting our compost in with tortoise poop and a banana peel. Now that we've got our compost in here, we're going to take our little shovel and we're going to turn over the soil that we put in there onto the compost a little. It doesn't have to be perfect. It doesn't have to be completely buried, just mixed in a little bit, especially if you've got something that's kind of got a lot of smell, like potatoes or chunks of carrot. Sometimes that can get a little gunky and smell funny. You want to just cover it with soil. But this helps make sure that all the bugs that we want to come in here have a good place to hide, and that there's lots of moisture still in there to help the bacteria grow so that they can help break down all of this and turn it into good soil for our plants. Now, we can't have just this in here, right? Because nothing else can live in here except for a few bugs in the soil. So we're going to put a little bit of stuff in here to give the bugs a good place to live. Now, what I recommend you do is take a piece of cardboard and cut it out to the shape of the top of your compost bin. So that way you can raise and lower it when you have lots of food and stuff in there. What we're going to do is we're going to use these logs. We're going to put one of them right in here like this. And that offers some shelter from the sun and helps make sure that the bugs have a safe place to live. Now, you're going to take your compost bin and you're going to go find a spot in the yard that your parents say is okay to put it. You want to put it underneath a bush or a tree, somewhere where it's going to get a lot of shade and isn't going to be sitting in the sun all day long. Because if it gets too hot, it'll kill the bugs and the bacteria. So we're going to pretend that it's under a bush right here so that you can still see what we're doing. So once you've got it in the spot that you want it in, now you're going to build your habitat for not only other bugs, but also the lizards. And the lizards are another important part. You're making a little ecosystem. See, the bugs are going to eat your compost and help turn it into soil. And then the lizards are going to eat the bugs, and they're going to help make sure that the bugs don't go everywhere, that they just kind of hang out around the compost bin. And that'll keep your yard nice and clean and still give you a great compost place. So lizards have a different type of thing that they like. They like lots of stacks of things, and they like hidey spots, lots of different hidey places. So we're going to start with a big rock. That's going to be our base. And what we want to do is we want to make sure that the lizards have one place that they can sit in the sun. So we're going to put this where the rock here is next to a sunny spot so they can warm up. Because remember, reptiles are cold-blooded, so they need the sun to warm up in the morning. And then we're going to put a log like that so that there's like a little hidey space right there. And we're going to take our old reptile hide and we're going to put that here, and there's an entrance in the back and an entrance in the front. And now they've got a couple of different places to hide, one that's tighter and smaller and one that's a little bit bigger, plus the rock to hang out on or the log to hang out on. And we're just going to kind of stack some of these other rocks around it too. And you want to make sure that the rocks don't completely block the entrances and that they're not going to roll off if, say, you accidentally bump into it or if your dog or something bumps into it. Finally, we're going to add this little bug house right in the front too, because we want to have all kinds of cool bugs and stuff in there. And we're going to put like leaves and sticks and maybe some little rocks inside of there to give the bugs even more places to hide, as well as baby lizards. Now, one of the other things you can use are like these little pots. You can dig a little bit of a hole and bury them in the ground like this and half fill them up with dirt. They make cute little houses. Or you can cut a little hole like this and set them in with all of your other stuff. Just make sure that they're not going to blow away, right? So we're going to put that rock right there and maybe move this log over like that. There we go. And now the lizards have a new little place to hide, and we could bury this one in the dirt here, and they'd have a bunch of different places. And that would be a great habitat for them to hang out in. So now that you've built your compost pile and made your little lizard habitat, make sure that once a week You come to your compost pile and you pour in a little cup of water so that the soil and the fruits and veggies and stuff in it stay kind of damp. You don't want them wet because they'll grow fungus and that's gross, but you do want them a little damp. And then you can even rearrange these until you think that they're perfect for the animals that you want to see in your backyard. Don't be afraid to plant more things. Maybe make a little garden next to it, or make a bigger stack. Just make sure that there's plenty of places for the animals that you want to hang out, to hide in and feel safe. I hope you guys enjoyed this little project, and I can't wait to see some pictures and videos of the ones that you all have made. And don't forget, you can make it yours with all kinds of fun, cute little welcome home pieces for the lizards and bugs that you hope are going to join you. Thanks for joining us today, and we hope you have a great day. Bye!